Imagine this: a system that quietly connects your travel history, financial records, employment data, and location information. Not because you committed a crime, but because the executive branch decided their policies mattered more than the Constitution. No court date, no criminal charge, no explanation. Just flagged. This isn't speculation and it isn't a theory. This is already happening inside the federal government. Today, we're breaking down how immigration enforcement is being used to justify one of the most aggressive data integration efforts in United States history, how ICE and Palantir fit into this system, and why, once this power exists, it never will stay limited to the people it was built to target. Welcome to Pragmotiv News. So let's start with what's documented. ICE pays Palantir tens of millions of dollars to run a data analysis system called Immigration OS. Now we got to pause right here, y'all. Apple, y'all gonna let them get away with this? Their evil software is iOS for short. I just had to point that out. All right, so according to Wired, Immigration and Customs Enforcement is paying Palantir $30 million to provide the agency with near real-time visibility on people who are self-deporting from the United States. That system works by pulling information from multiple government databases into one operational picture. This isn't just one system at one agency. We're talking about multiple systems fused together. And that's the part that really matters. Because you see, Palantir doesn't just store this data. No, they're analyzing relationships, patterns, and priorities. This data isn't anonymous, and that makes it not just dangerous, but powerful. When the New York Times reported on the Trump administration's push to consolidate federal data, the backlash was immediate. Palantir's CEO publicly denied the claim. Alex Karp said the reporting was, quote, blatantly untrue, end quote. He insisted Palantir does not collect data to surveil Americans. But this is the key distinction. The concern was never about a single database labeled Americans. The concern was about capability. So the Times reported that the Trump administration has already sought access to hundreds of data points on citizens and others through government databases, including their bank account numbers. So they're looking at our bank account numbers, including their bank account numbers, the amount of their student debt, their medical claims, and any disability status. So I wouldn't trust any president with all that information, y'all. I wouldn't trust not one of our past presidents and any of the future ones with an all-encompassing database of our most sensitive data. But I damn sure wouldn't trust Donald Trump and his band of white nationalists he has selected to run the country with that information. Once the government can search and analyze that kind of data across agencies, there is no limit on what they can do. This is not a debate about whether immigration enforcement should exist. This is about what happens when enforcement becomes data-driven at scale. Systems like this don't just identify people, they identify patterns. And patterns can be used to flag, prioritize, pressure, and monitor people. It allows them to weave a narrative that they want and not necessarily the one that is true. And all of this can be done without due process. And this concern isn't just coming from activists. NPR reported that former Palantir employees publicly warned about the company's government work. According to NPR, 13 former employees of influential data mining firm Palantir are condemning the company's work with the Trump administration weeks after Immigration and Customs Enforcement reached a deal to pay Palantir $30 million to provide the agency with, quote, near real-time visibility, end quote, into the movement of migrants in the United States. In a letter shared exclusively with NPR, the ex-Palantir workers, former software engineers, managers, and an employee who worked with the firm's privacy and civil liberties team, say when they joined the powerful tech company, they believed in its code of conduct stating that the software should protect the vulnerable and ensure the responsible development of artificial intelligence. Early Palantirians understood the ethical weight of building these technologies. The 13 former employees wrote in the letter, "These principles have now been violated and are rapidly being dismantled at Palantir Technologies and across Silicon Valley." So when people who built the technology give you a public warning, you can't get more clear than that. For decades, government data has lived in silos, different agencies with different rules and different limits, never together, and for good reason. Now those barriers are being actively dismantled. The Trump administration has pushed agencies to share data more freely in the name of efficiency. And Palantir's software is designed specifically for that kind of environment. That's not accidental. It's very intentional. So here's the part people are underreacting to. Once a system allows the Trump administration to link the identities of citizens, map relationships between people, and assign risk or priority, it doesn't matter who it was built for. The infrastructure is the same, and infrastructure always gets reused. So now let's talk about the consequences. And not from a paranoia standpoint, but from what is likely to happen given what Trump and his administration has already done or has signaled that they want to do. Protest organizers can be flagged as disruption risks. Journalists could be mapped and grouped based on association. Benefits could be delayed or denied by algorithmic scoring. And entire communities subjected to heightened scrutiny without charges. None of this requires new laws, thanks in large part to the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act was signed into law on October 26, 2001, a little more than a month after the terrorist attacks on 9/11. They were signed by then President George W. Bush. All of this only requires that this system exists to be used, because the laws are already there that allow them to skirt and create their own way to surveil us. And the Trump administration is hell-bent on making sure that that system exists. So again, you can't centralize people's personal data at this scale and expect abuses not to follow. Building a system capable of tracking millions of people and assuming it won't be used is insane. So here's the hard truth all of us have to grapple with. If immigration enforcement becomes the justification for mass data surveillance, immigration won't be the last place it's used. If fear becomes the logic of enforcement, fear becomes the logic of governance. And once that happens, everyone feels it. If this helps you put what ICE and Palantir are doing into a clear perspective, then please share it with someone who needs to hear it. I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.